Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Donkey Kong Country 3. In the last one we finished off Cotton Top Cove, and now we're ending off K.A.O.S World 4 with a level I'm torn on. While I love the earlier levels in K.A.O.S, Low-G Labyrinth, well, you're seeing what its mechanic is pretty simply. The green gas here gives you higher jumps, but also massively slows you down. And they do some neat stuff with the heights you can reach with this, but I feel with the speed you jump up at times, it's rough to honestly judge how you're going to run into enemies or not. So I end up being kind of torn on this level, plus it kind of lengthens the level artificially, I feel. Just because the things just are slowed down just enough to be kind of annoying. There's another level like this much later in the game that is theoretically more annoying, but at least that level I feel moves at a better pace, generally, just because you're not slowed down, even with all of its other problems. Zero-G levels and lower gravity levels, I feel, are hard to pull off right as well. It's like ice levels and water levels that, if you pull it off right, it's really good. I'm looking especially at usually how Mega Man handles water stages, for instance, which is both a low-G level and a water level. But every now and then you get something like Mad Space in Sonic Adventure 2, which, yikes. With that game's camera and controls, that is loose, and I do not like it. But that said, to compensate, I feel the level isn't too terribly hard, as long as you're taking your time, because running into things is the biggest problem here. Even the bonuses, I feel, give you ample time for what they want you to do inside of them. Oh, also, this is technically a different animal buddy. This is K.A.O.S, not Squawks, K.A.O.S. He's almost exactly the same, only he can pick things up by holding the Y button, and he doesn't have a seed/egg attack. So he's a more situational Squawks, but I like that they at least gave him something different to do. I would have preferred overall if Squawks just had the ability to do both things, but I feel that probably would have been rough to do on the Super Nintendo controller, at least at the time. So if they could have done that, maybe it could have been something like, since you're stuck in K.A.O.S once you unlock him, maybe holding the X button does picking up the barrel or something like that. Need to be careful with this TNT barrel too, because we need to take it past this particular buzz to that one to come down here and grab the next bonus. And I do believe if you mess that up, I don't think that TNT barrel respawns, so either you have to take a cheap hit to get through there, or you're probably going to die, because I think there's not enough time to squeeze through there with just K.A.O.S. Ultimately, I feel a level like this can work in a game like this, but it takes a lot of effort to make it feel right, and this just feels off enough that it's kind of clunky because of the jump arc. More methodical games like this, when it comes to getting everything at least, you need to put a lot of effort in making that feel right. Either that, or in some regards, I guess just give you a Metroid-esque power-up to completely avoid something. Because that's part of the reason why the gravity suit works so well as a mechanic, because you have awkward controls, but then the reward for exploring is getting rid of the awkward controls. Now, you need to be careful here, because either this barrel or the barrel we're going to get for taking K.A.O.S to the animal sign are what you need to get rid of the coin Kremling and get the DK coin. So this is another one where you only have one shot per life, so to speak. So if I miss this shot here, I have to die and take an L. Thankfully, again, Kitty's really good for that. I do believe in the case you get to a point like that where you lose an animal buddy and you just revert to a Kong when you can't see the Kong that's in control. I believe the one that you were in control of when you got the animal buddy is who you're considered in control of. So since I entered K.A.O.S as Dixie, me getting hit counted as losing Dixie, more so than Kitty. But that's Low-G Labyrinth. It's a little clunky, to say the least. It can take a while, but that's the only level like that in the game that's exactly like that, at least. And now it's time for Chaos Carnage. which is a little bit of a different boss fight in that DKC 3 is the first game in the series to try and do cutscenes at more than just the ending.
Click Kong's enemy. You must be destroyed.
Alright, that's it. Kaos, despite being the villain according to the very last word of the manual's story synopsis, isn't too bad of a boss. At the start, it's going to be moving left and right, causing some fire to spurt out of its bottom, which you can normally move under, but if it does a little burst of fire, that will damage you. Then little swords will come out that can either damage you or be used as platforms to go bonk them on the head and cause some HP damage. Later on in the fight, I believe he does start gaining the ability to fire lasers out, and he can also just straight up punch you off the middle platforms, I believe, using little fists that come out of those holes. With that said, the timing of jumping on the blades and then up to the next blade is a little tight, but it's nothing too hard, I would say. But this is definitely the hardest boss we've seen so far. But it's more so just due to some awkward platforming that they add onto it more so than the actual boss's attacks. Now that we've hit him 3 times, I believe, is when things get a little different. Now the main Chaos head that we thought was the main Chaos head is floating, and now we have this dude with sunglasses underneath there, which, weird design choice, but alright. The thing that changes at this phase is that every time you now hit the main head, the secondary Chaos head is going to fire lasers at you between every hit. Which are, I believe, the only time outside of maybe the weird music box at the start of the game and during the credits that the game uses the Super FX chip that's in the cartridge. The laser blasts aren't very hard to dodge. You can just move left to right, and as long as you're not caught on a turn, you're not likely to get hit like I just was. Rolling can help with that in terms of dodging, but you need to make sure you also don't roll into the wall. With that said, it only takes about 2 hits after the second Chaos head comes out for the boss fight to be done.
Bzz, bzz, Kong's run does not compute. Next time we meet Chaos, we'll win.
And for beating Chaos, we get a second ski. Now we have both sets, and this will allow us to access new ports of the map, thanks to our good old buddy, Funky. So let's go see what he has waiting for us this time around. Thankfully, the overworld's small enough that it never takes long to get back to him, compared to some other games that would do something like that. Well, hey! Found 2 skis! Awesome! I've now got all the parts I need to make the ultimate ride! Wait right there, kitty, while I get my latest and greatest bow yet. Bonkers! I built in a cool turbo feature that'll sure take you to new heights. Just press the Y button. Bust a move, got a groove. So now we have a jet ski. By and large, anywhere there's water, we can now access, even going up waterfalls like this to access an entirely new Banana Bird section. And I'll get more into this after the next world, but I believe up here there's also something a bit more unique in the Game Boy Advanced version. Because something I haven't mentioned exactly about the GBA version is that they completely redid a lot of graphics for the game. Namely, the entire overworld and the Brothers Bear were updated to different visuals. And that came into play especially on the northwest portion of the map. More on that when we get to there. With that said, let's now take the jet ski up here to our next world. This is K3. You might be able to tell just by the little visuals beneath us, but this is our ice world for the game, which has a first level that isn't ice related whatsoever. Also a really funny face on the top right of the map. More on that next part, probably. I forget exactly if we finish this world next part or the part after. So, Crevice Creepers is a bit of a tricky level in that it returns the clasps from a few parts ago back to us, but now these ones actively track onto you. So the moment you get on their rope, they try to ram into you and will follow you around. Thus, in order to get either the bonus stars, the bonus stages, the Kong letters, or anything important in this stage, you kind of need to bait them out to an area and then have them follow you. Thankfully, especially if you hold down the Y button, on the ropes and jump around. They have a hard time catching up with you, I find, but you still should be careful whenever you see them because they will surprise you in some cases. The movement can be a little awkward due to this. I'm generally not a fan of this particular level aesthetic and the levels they do with it, because there's some annoying levels that use this particular tile set. But that said, we also have one of the funniest DK coins in the game, because what you're supposed to do is throw it up to the left over here, up to the right over there, and then run to the left in such a way that coin will face you and not the barrel. But you can just throw it into the wall behind him and have it bounce into him at an awkward enough angle. It's kind of precise, but if you miss, you can just pick the barrel back up. So it's just easier to do that. And I just find that really funny. Throw Dixie up here, by the way, because this is how we find our second bonus stage. If memory serves, this bonus is also really quick. I do appreciate that a lot of the bonuses can be done super quickly in this game, because I feel something that some games do is that their bonus stages last almost as long as the main stages, and with little rewards for it. I'm especially thinking of some of the Shinobi games in particular, because, yeah, you can get extra lives from them, or extra shuriken, kunai, but, or even ninpo in the early, or not ninpo, that's Ninja Gaiden, ninjutsu in Shinobi 1 in particular, but they take so long and they're also super precise, so why even bother? It's just more worth it just doing what you can in the stage, in some cases, I feel. DKC, I always got them pretty right in that they're always usually really quick, and usually give good rewards, too. Even if it's not for 100%. Like, DKC 1's bonus stages were obviously handled a little differently, but them giving you consistent, like, extra lives and bananas, that felt good. That said, I was always kind of bummed playing the later games that they never brought back the animal buddy tokens, that, like, if you get 3, you get a super bonus stage that's really good for getting extra lives. Yeah, it made getting a game over really hard in DKC 1, but it gave the game a little more identity, I felt, because it gave the animal buddies more time to shine. That said, now we're heading into Tearaway Toboggan. This is the second stage that uses a familiar mechanic from last part, but we want to be careful really quickly because we've already found the first bonus stage. You gotta fire down to the right there, otherwise you were getting hit or dying. This one's a little bit rough because you need to throw Kitty into the bugs here. That's actually why there's a DK barrel here, in case you don't have Kitty or Dixie. And the timing required for that can be a little precise. Needless to say anything about the hitboxes. But now we're in the toboggan. Again, I like the stage because it moves really fast, and I like it when slow games sometimes decide to have a pace difference. With that said, you need to be careful here because the next bonus stages and the Kong letters can be a little hard to see with what you have to do here. In particular, I believe to get the second bonus later on in the stage, you need to, like, snake the toboggan between a couple enemies and go underneath one of those little house roofs I just went on. It can be tough to time. And see coming because the further we get into this level, the more snow starts to fall, making it a little harder to see as well. Not as hard to see as the one snow level in DKC 1, I'd say, but definitely harder to see. It is a little weird, though. Like, levels like this can really depend in quality on what the game's main mechanics are, which I know is generally how platformers work anyway, but like, I like this level and the one from the previous part, but I don't like Frostman stage from Mega Man 8, despite it being a very similar concept. Maybe it's because Frostman stage is a bit more annoying auditorily, for one thing, but it's also just, I guess, a little different pacing for what Mega Man is comparatively, especially with how tight some of those jumping and sliding prompts are, especially in Wily 2. But here, this feels great. I forget if this particular barrel respawns, so be careful, by the way. But that works. But we're not quite done yet. We want to take care of that particular bird to get some extra bananas. I didn't need to do that, but it felt good to see the number go up. Number go up, make brain, make good chemical. Alright, barrel drop bounce. Which level is this? Some of them I don't remember exactly by name. Oh, it's this one. I don't like this level. The main mechanic with this one is the waterfalls now have barrels falling down them. You can use them as platforms. And that's pretty straightforward. And it remains pretty straightforward. It's just that sometimes the timing for jumping on them later on in this particular stage gets to be a little tight. Particularly when it comes to getting one of the bonus barrels from memory. We want to throw that barrel to the left and jump on it with Dixie to right it, and then jump off coming up here in a second, because it's the only way you can get this DK coin. That is the only time the game requires you to use that technique that you can also do with Kitty, or by throwing Kitty against a wall. The only way you can know you can do that is by looking in the manual. Little rough, but thankfully there's only so many things you can do in the game anyway, so you'll probably figure it out probably by accident eventually. Not a fan of the bonus stages here either. Like that, something about being over a bottomless pit while doing this when the platforms are falling down just makes my anxiety go off, and I don't like it. I would recommend, honestly, in this level, usually using Kitty over Dixie, as while Dixie might be able to save you with some last-minute hovers from maybe missing a jump. Accidentally holding it can make you miss the platform you're trying to get onto, and thus cause other platforming problems. With that said, another problem this level can have is levels like this that are more vertically structured in the game. It's very easy to fall down some of them, and that can cause some pretty massive backtracks. This stage in particular, I believe, has one that you can do towards the end, or maybe it's the next level of this variety, that can lose you like 20, 30 seconds, and that's rough. Yeah, this is the one that's rough, because we need to jump all the way up this waterfall to the top, and I believe the bonus barrel is at the very top right of this after another altitude shift. And if you fall down, you have to do this over again. And I forget if that happens, honestly, because I recorded this about half a month ago, but I edited it almost immediately. So my memory as to what happens is a little vague. Yeah, that's right. We jump up here. We want to get this N and helicopter spin, jump off of that, or you could clip right through it. Yeah, I had to go all the way back up that waterfall. That's not very fun. Thankfully, to compensate, I believe this is a pretty straightforward bonus game. Yeah, you just need to jump up the platforms. Admittedly, doing it in a rush like this, when they're this close together, not too bad. With the spacing that last waterfall had, not so much. With that said, we're more or less done the level at this point, because we have 100% of everything, except I believe we just don't have the G. And I forget if you need to take parry all the way to the end of the level to get it. I want to say you do. I think I said the same. This little guy's name was Carrie earlier. No, it's Perry. Because I guess Perry the parrot. Clearly not a platypus. The big thing annoying with getting him to the goal this time around is there's times where you feel like you should jump with him because he'll track onto your jumps, but you actually just need to walk forward. Oh no, just getting him there gives you a green... Huh. Wait, where is the G then? I mean, clearly I get it, because I do 100%, but... Oh. Yeah, that's right. That's a little rude. I don't like it when games hide things behind the goal like that. It's one thing to move left at a stage where you start slightly askew to the right, but I don't like that stuff usually. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in Part 7, I think we finish off K3. I don't remember. See you guys then.